Hi guys, my name is Rebecca and in today's video I'm going to be filming 4 different pizzas using only ingredients that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. I'm hoping to make this a regular series on my channel, but the 4 pizzas that we're going to be making today are a macaroni and cheese with jalapeno and bacon, a spinach Alfredo pizza with mushrooms, a barbecue chicken pizza with peppers and onions, and then a taco pizza. And these are all kind of inspired by pizzas that I used to make when I worked at CC's Pizza, so I have a little bit of a background in pizza making, and so when I went to the Dollar Tree and I saw the pizza crust, my gears just started churning, and I felt like I definitely had to make a pizza-themed Dollar Tree video. In this video, like I said, there are 4 pizzas. I think in future videos, just for length purposes, I'll probably only do 1 meal per video, but I thought that this would be a good introduction to the series and a good introduction to my channel. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and hop right in. We're going to start with the first pizza, which is the macaroni and cheese pizza. So for ingredients, we're going to be using 1 ultra thin pizza crust, a box of deluxe mac and cheese dinner, some jalapeno slices, some bacon bits, and of course we have to top it off with cheese, so I decided for this one to use mozzarella cheese. To start off, I'm going to prepare the pasta as directed on the box, which was just to put the pasta in boiling water, and it said to boil it for 8 to 10 minutes. You do want the pasta to be a little bit more on the undercooked versus the overcooked side because it is going in the oven, so I put it on the oven for exactly 8 minutes. I went ahead and finally diced up about 2 tablespoons of the jalapeno slices, which left me with almost the entire jar that I could use for a future recipe. And then I also finally diced the mozzarella cheese. Now, if you have a grater, you can definitely shred this. If you have a shredder attachment for your food processor or KitchenAid, that's probably your best option, because these little thin blocks of cheese are just notoriously hard to shred. So I just chopped it up with my knife, which worked perfectly well, and I would definitely recommend that rather than trying to shred these. I drained the pasta, added in the sauce pack, and stirred it in, and pretty much at that point we are ready to assemble our pizza. And then we're just going to bake it at 425 for about 10 minutes, and then we're done. Alright, so first pizza is done. This is the mac and cheese with jalapenos and bacon. This is going to be my first time trying this Dollar Tree crust. Pretty much going to be my first time trying Dollar Tree food in general. I did want to mention that I did some calculations. Okay, so I did the math based on the entire pizza. If I were to have used the entire box of macaroni and cheese to make the pizza, and that put each slice right around 260 calories for 8 slice serving. Now, I really didn't use the whole box. I only used probably about 2/3 of the box, so a more accurate idea is probably around 200 to 210 calories per slice for an 8 slice pizza. Also, I did use the Dollar Tree mac and cheese. Now, I will say that I tried it and it was okay. It wasn't great. I originally thought I was going to get those little packets. They have a little packet of name brand Velveeta cheese sauce, and then I was going to get the Berea macaroni noodles, which would have given me leftover macaroni noodles for a future video, but I figured I'd give the Dollar Tree version a shot, because obviously if I get the 2 ingredients separate, then I'm $2 versus just $1. So I'm trying it as it is with the Dollar Tree macaroni and cheese, but if you have an extra $1, it would probably be better with the Velveeta cheese sauce and either the Dollar Tree macaroni noodles or the Berea macaroni noodles. Either one would probably work. So let's give this a try. So the crust is holding up fine. It's not like flopping over or anything, so that's really good. Oh my god. This is really good, you guys. Oh my god, I'm actually really impressed. gonna lie, I was kind of scared to try this. I wasn't quite sure how the crust was gonna be, but this is really good. And you know, I like jalapenos and stuff like that. Obviously, you could just make it with a macaroni and cheese. That's how we made it when I worked at CC's, was we just used macaroni and cheese noodles topped with mozzarella cheese, and that was the pizza that we put on the buffet. But I kind of wanted to make it a more adult version of a mac and cheese pizza, hence the bacon and jalapenos. If you don't like spicy food, leave off the jalapenos. If you're vegetarian, or you know, if you're vegetarian, leave off the bacon. But I think that this is really good, and I'm actually really excited to give Michael some of this when he gets off work later today. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, this is really good. This one's a win.
Moving on to the spinach Alfredo pizza, we're going to be using the same ultra thin pizza crust, a bag of the frozen cut leaf spinach, can of the Prego Alfredo sauce, a jar of sliced mushrooms, and then topping it with some more mozzarella cheese. First thing that I did was boil the spinach. I started out by only adding half the bag, but then I added the whole bag, and I'm glad that I did because it definitely needed the whole bag. But I just left that on the stovetop to simmer for around 4 to 5 minutes while I worked on preparing the rest of the ingredients. I drained the jar of mushrooms over the sink and then patted them dry with some paper towels just because I didn't want them to have too much moisture in the pizza. I'm not quite sure how these are usually prepared, but it seemed like a good idea to me at the time. And here you get to witness my failed attempt at trying to shred this cheese with a box grater. It just doesn't work. Don't even try it. Just chop it up by hand. Eventually I gave up and did that anyways. By this point, the spinach was done, so I strained it into a colander with a rag on the inside of it. That's so that I can take it over to the sink and really wring out any excess moisture that I don't really want in my sauce. So be careful with this process because it's extremely hot if you don't let it cool, which I'm usually too impatient to let it cool. So I usually end up having to pull out one of those little pot holders to try to strain the spinach. I've cooked a lot of things with spinach, and I do this almost every single time. I never really prepare it far enough in advance for it to properly cool before I try to wring out all the water. I emptied my can of Alfredo sauce into a bowl, which interestingly enough, the can itself had a recipe for a chicken Alfredo pizza on the can. So that could be even a cool adaptation of a future video. I could try to make this chicken Alfredo pizza on the Prego can. But basically just dumped the can into a bowl and added the drained and dried spinach into it and kind of mixed it all together, and that is my sauce for my pizza. Time to assemble the second pizza. I noticed when I made the macaroni and cheese pizza that the crust around the outer edges got really crunchy and not super great, so I tried this time to kind of spread the toppings out pretty much as far to the edge as I could and still have something that you could hold. So just topped it with my spinach Alfredo sauce, then the mozzarella cheese, and lastly with the mushrooms. And I did the same thing. I baked it at 425 for 10 minutes, and here is the final result of this one.
Okay, so here we go. Pizza number 2, the spinach Alfredo with mushrooms. Of course, leave off the mushrooms if you don't like mushrooms. It would also be a good variation if you wanted to add chicken into it. You could even leave out the spinach and just make an Alfredo and cheese pizza, depending on your taste. But again, I'm trying to do kind of an adult themed pizza. This one is a little bit on the lighter side compared to the mac and cheese pizza. It's about 140 calories per slice, assuming that I used about 2/3 of the sauce and about 2/3 of the spinach, which I have some left over. That would actually make a good pasta dish, I think. With the leftover sauce, you could get a box of pasta and potentially get 2 meals out of this one kind of recipe. So I'll probably end up doing that in a future video. But let's go ahead and taste test this because it smells really good. So I guess we'll see. And again, the crust is holding up really well. even with the amount of sauce that I put on there, because I did try to be kind of generous with the sauce. So let's give it a taste. I didn't get a mushroom in that bite, so let's go one more time. It's good. It's not as good as the mac and cheese pizza. It's a little bit more subtle, subdued. Could make the flavor stronger, maybe adding some Parmesan cheese or some garlic powder or something like that into the Alfredo sauce, just to amp it up a little bit, because I do think it's a little bit on the bland side. But in the realm of pizza, it's really good. I just think the Alfredo sauce is a little bit bland, but this one's definitely a good one. Would probably give this like a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. If I were to give the mac and cheese like an 8 out of 10, this would be like a 7 or a 6. But also a good pizza.
For our barbecue pizza, we are going to be using, again, the ultra thin pizza crust, 2 cans of their white chicken, a bottle of barbecue sauce, their pepper stir fry that's in the freezer section, and then we're going to top this one with cheddar cheese instead. First thing I did was heat up some oil in a pan, and I'm going to use that to sweat out some of the moisture in the pepper stir fry. Because it is frozen vegetables and they are going to create a lot of liquid, I don't want that in my pizza, so I felt like it was a good idea to cook it out first. Also, you know, since these pizzas have a very limited cook time, only about 10 minutes, it's usually a good idea for the ingredients to be pretty hot before they go on the pizza. That way you're just kind of warming everything back up again, cooking the crust, but you don't actually have time to cook the ingredients on the pizza itself. So with that being said, once the peppers were adequately sweated out, I added both cans of the chicken to the same saute pan, and I also added the barbecue sauce, although somehow I managed to not film that part of it, but I just let these kind of heat up together for just a minute or two, just so that everything was hot and ready to go on the pizza. My birthday elapsed in the middle of filming this video, and one of the things that I asked for was a shredder attachment for my KitchenAid, which of course I was super excited to try out on these little flimsy Dollar Tree bricks of cheese, and let me tell you, it worked amazingly. Oh, such a lifesaver for these Dollar Tree videos, because I have a feeling I'm going to be using a lot of Dollar Tree cheese, and to be able to film or shred it this easily is just perfection. And now comes time to assemble and bake. This one's super easy because all of the ingredients are literally in the sauce itself. Spread the sauce on the pizza, top it with the cheese, 425, 10 minutes, and done. Here is the final product on this one.
Okay, Dollar Tree pizza number 3, barbecue chicken with peppers and onions. The crust on this one isn't, well, I guess it's holding up. You just gotta kind of fold it in half a little bit. I was gonna say I was a little heavy-handed on the sauce, and maybe even a little heavy-handed on the cheese. I think I could have cut back on that a little bit. But this one is around 200 calories a slice for 8 slices, yeah. I had to think. I've been filming these videos over the course of like 2 weeks, so I'm trying to remember everything. Oh, that's hot. It's decent. It's nothing really exciting. I think it's good though. I could have probably used more chicken on it to balance out, or maybe I should have just used less barbecue sauce to give it like more, like, I don't know if heftiness is the right word for it, but that was a fail. I think that the Dollar Tree cheddar cheese is not my favorite of the cheeses. Well, I still have pepper jack to try on the next pizza, but the mozzarella definitely holds up a little bit better. I feel like the cheddar kind of got a little bit oily and it's already getting quite firm, so it didn't really like hold up for very long, and maybe that's what's kind of throwing me off on this one. But flavor wise, it's really good. I mean, it just tastes like cheese and barbecue sauce. You can't even really tell that there's peppers and onions in it. You can barely even tell that there's chicken in it. But I think that this one's really good. I think it's, you know, an interesting take on a Dollar Tree pizza.
All right, taco pizza time. We're going to be using crust, salsa, black olives, meatballs. I know it's weird, bear with me, and pepper jack cheese. Okay, so thought process on the meatballs. I saw it in another video. I thought it was a genius idea. Basically, Dollar Tree doesn't sell any sort of ground beef. So some people use the hamburger patties, some people use the meatballs, but there are a couple of different options as far as a substitute for ground beef that you can purchase at the Dollar Tree. I went with the meatballs. Probably could have done the hamburger patties. That might have tasted a little bit more like a taco pizza, but I just chopped the meatballs into bits essentially to kind of resemble ground beef crumbles. They don't really resemble ground beef crumbles, but that was my thought process. And then I took those little bits of beef and I tossed them in the salsa to make the sauce for the pizza. And then I heated that up over the stovetop just until it's warm. Same concept, preheating the ingredients before they go in the oven. I then drained the black olives and I sliced up maybe about 6 or so of them to put on the pizza. I love black olives, so I probably should have put more on there, but I definitely didn't use the whole can. I just ended up snacking on them for the rest of the day, which to me is a win-win. And then once again, I get to do my favorite thing in the whole world, which was use the shredder attachment on my KitchenAid to shred the pepper jack cheese to go on the pizza. Can we just stop and take a moment to appreciate how beautifully this shredder works? I feel like this one doesn't look super appetizing as I'm rewatching the footage. It kind of looks like dog food, but you know, it's just meatballs and salsa being piled on a pizza. Top it with the cheese and the black olives. Once again, bake at 425 for 10 minutes. And here is the final result of the taco pizza.
Alright, last pizza of the Dollar Tree challenge. I don't know if it's a challenge, but last pizza of the Dollar Tree video is done. So we've got a taco pizza here. Couple of alterations that I could have done. I have leftover jalapenos from the macaroni and cheese pizza. I have leftover peppers and onions from the barbecue pizza. I could have used those. If you don't eat meat, you could always substitute the meatballs with refried beans. But this is definitely the one I'm kind of most nervous about because of the meatballs. I don't really know how they're going to translate super well in a Spanish style pizza, but it smells really good, and let's give it a taste, I suppose. I'm trying not to burn my mouth to oblivion like I did with the barbecue pizza today, so. That's so good. That's really good. It would definitely benefit from the peppers and onions or the jalapenos or both. I could have added those to it, but I wanted to keep it under $5, so I didn't today. But yeah, that's really good. It's very, very taco-y. When I worked at CC's, the way that we would make our taco pizza was like, there would be a kind of a taco sauce that would go on the pizza, and then we put like little ground beef pieces, it would go in the oven just like that, just sauce and beef. And then when it came out of the oven, you would put shredded lettuce and like fresh tomato and cheese on top of it, kind of like a taco would be. So also an option if you have lettuce, tomato, throw some cold lettuce and tomato on there. It's really good. I would say that of the 4 pizzas that I made, macaroni and cheese was my like absolute favorite. This is the second favorite. Then the barbecue pizza, and last the spinach pizza. And my boyfriend Michael has tried the barbecue pizza and he tried the spinach pizza, and he did like the barbecue pizza. He did not like the spinach pizza. So I think that the Dollar Tree frozen spinach is off-season spinach, because I did notice that it tastes a little bit more bitter than usually what I would buy at the store. But otherwise, I think that this was a really successful $5 Dollar Tree pizza challenge. I got 4 different pizzas made at $20, and I think that they all turned out really good, and I hope that this is kind of a unique or original take on the Dollar Tree videos that are on YouTube right now. I also totally forgot to mention that this is 280 calories a slice. I know that I included the calories in all the other pizzas. I just kind of forgot to throw that one in there. So 280 calories per slice for 8 slices. So I think that as far as calories go, the macaroni and cheese was the highest calorie per slice. I think the spinach was the lowest, but yeah. Again, flavor-wise, macaroni and cheese definitely wins. This one's a close second though. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again in my next video.